This is Gerald van Waas with a video that will explain how colors work as attractors within a yin and yang system of balance, seeking degrees of manifestation compared to the letter system of order that can also use these same kinds of references. Even though the two systems are different, they can find some matches and inspirations from both systems, but you have to understand the systems well before you can know and realize how much you can play with it. But there is a system of order for our benefit that we can use to go deeper into it, and that will be useful also to know it better. And the letters, of course, are already explained in sounding form, and the colors are also introduced, how the balance is working, mostly psychologically, but also already as a yin and yang system in the 7 color wheels. And I have to explain the system as basics, how this works. So we are attracted to colors, and the colors appear at certain positions where the kind of attraction matters. And I will first have it as an association psychologically. We are attracted to the yellow color as if this is what makes everything more light, more it looks from new connections. It is broadening our senses, it's attracting our senses, and we have the impression that it will bring us new territory. This yellowness will also be attached to light. It's the lightest color, it's the brightest color, and it is attached to what light is, to white then basically. The next color in the system is blue, which are the circumstances that we have now, and these circumstances we can analyze by rationally mostly. This is the theory, and this connects us towards reality, how things are at this moment and what we can use at this moment. The combination of this is yellow and blue will of course go towards green, which will attach the process further to matter, so that the things that are indeed lifting up the connections further and really lifting it up in energy, it will bring us in the green territory, where there's a spontaneous connection to further materialize and formalize itself further. When it's even materializing further to and attached to matter, it will do this towards the black color. You can see that in nature, so if you connect things further, it will go towards black, without then that the energy is transferred further, like in leaves and so on in the plants. If it's simply attached to matter and it develops further, it will be like carbon will go towards the black color. So this is also physical. There's a physical associations there, and it is all about reflection. The reflections are less there because they are not transferred further. But if they are transferred further and they make new connections, it will produce from matter the color red, just like in the coal. Let's say that it will have energy again, and you have the cycle that goes back towards the light because you want to use this again. You want to use this again for different or new connections. This is basically the yin and yang balance of the 3 elements that are connecting itself and then trying to find new connections as well when it's back to the red. That's basically a system that has a psychological association, but also has a physical association where you can find these colors. Can we then use them directly for letters? I will not say directly because the colors are more like associations of regions, and it's like they describe circumstances, and they immediately say something like, okay, I have these kind of circumstances, and it's like a stimulation in communication that that gives you the opportunity to deal with it and do something with it. So when yellow is appearing, you know that there's a lot of new material appearing there, so that you can do something with it. And the blue, for instance, you know that there are circumstances in which you can try to find connections. So the blue is a little bit like it is a suggestion that says like, okay, just pick out something. There are some circumstances here, you can do something here. It's rationally, because it's a choice. It's a free choice. You just pick out what you need, what you can use. And that's the way how we will use, and how I will use the color blue as a starting point in the system, because it basically says, okay, here I can start the system, here I can pick out something, and that's a rational choice. And for the letters, it is the first region, is then the blue region, which it actually says basically how we are thinking. We start with our language basically in a rational way, and that it is a suggestion to pick out things that we want to materialize further. So we will have a rational choice to pick out something. That's the blue territory in which things will materialize themselves in space. So the blue area is associated with space. The next part is then, of course, will bring us to where can it bring us further? Where will it connect us further? Where will it move us further? It will bring us to the element of time. That's in the association of letters. And then if we see that not everything is connected well at that point, it is that point that you also have a switch. You have some leftover materials, and these leftovers are then used for to have corrections. The color red in its own doesn't say that there needs to be corrections, but there are available elements again, and it gives you an opportunity, like okay, you can do something with it emotionally, physically. It is available as material for the first time, material that has no need for connection. It's not looking for connection, but it's there already, and it is a moment where you can do something with it correctly. Can we associate it with letters already, and are they always there at that point? I will tell you how the letter system works and how you can use it in this region. So the regions, there are a match in that way that I told you. The letters that I can use is the picking out of an order region. Is like the blue part is associated in general also with the letter O. In the letter associations, they are not in the blue category, they are in the green category, because we have a system that is looking for something that we can use in time. Language is all about timing. So we have, of course, we have the basics in trying to find the material and the rationally that we can use, that we can pick out. But the whole system will be a system in a time schedule that we will pick out in the circumstances. The O is the circumstances, so that is correct. It will pick out in the time frame what we'll use. The A, the red part, is also correct in according to the colors. We will take out the A, or the materialization of things, and we do something with it also in time. We will try to pick out something in time. A is basically can be used in everywhere in the system. It is our materializing point. It's like you can associate it with black mostly, but you can have it in all colors. So it is not, there is not a perfect match for it. It is the making. It is the making itself in the system. I will later tell you that you can still associate it with a color, but it is all what you are doing, what you are making. So basically, we have three regions in the letters. First, we have in the circumstances that we have, we'll pick something out. That's our first category. And in the letters, it is associated with the spatial context compared to the yin and yang of colors. It's blue because it is the rational choice of circumstance in which we are to which we are attracted to, and to which we make the choices in the same way as with the energy of blue is associated with that kind of attraction and thinking and making associations. We want to go further, move forward, and there are a couple of other letters that are used for that in the second category. So for colors, the green part is all about the real material connection of all the processes. In the letters, it is a connection to do something, to move something, to change something in time, and we will communicate there as well. The last category, the last color there, the red, is for colors. It's associated with all the material that becomes available that can be reactivated. In the letters, it's also used to pick as an association in colors and letters. We can pick something out and we use it for a correction, and we will refocus we will refocus also. It's at the end of the cycle. We will refocus upon it and see what still needs to be done and needs to be reconnected. That's also the way how red is associated psychologically. It can be a danger zone. It can be a potential zone. It's all what you need to correct positively or negatively. It does, or in a negative way, it doesn't matter. But that's indeed also in the same way as it's used as an attraction. So I have already told you that letters can be associated in these three regions. So the first blue region, I stick with that, is then the choice of all the elements of the first category, where you say I choose something, I decide for that, and that's the part that I will materialize. I will consider as the materializing part, which is a choice. It's a rational choice. It's an interpretation choice. The first 9 letters of my system are working like that. The next couple of letters, next 9 letters, they are about adaptation. So it's the green part. They are trying to find the connections. They only will fit after finding the right connection, and that's what it basically does. It needs the element time. If it finds the right time, it will make the connection. So it will happen after a while, and then it will fit. And the last category is about the contextual adaptation. These are the things that don't immediately match, don't immediately fit, but you can compensate it by finding the context. And then of course you will also get the new elements out of it, and you have the next color. You have also the yellow color can be used also in that way. So these are supporting colors that you can use to make things more clear. So they work as an interaction that you can make things more clear. The way how they are used as attractions, that's the way how it is. The letters, as I said, the letters that I have, the 9 letters in the first category, next 10 letters in the next category, and the leftovers in the last category, they don't perfectly match in these three categories in a way that letters are our choices. It are our choices. What we don't know very well, we try to, but we can make something from it. We will do something with it rationally. If we don't know very well what to do with it, we do something with it over time and make connections. And if it really doesn't work anymore, okay, we will try to find the context and correct it. There's other three categories, and all the letters fit in those categories. As letters themselves alone, you can still fit them within the system of colors, and that's different, within the separate system of colors. That also explains you that, for instance, in all the categories of your rational choices, there are directions that says like, okay, but you can find the balance again. There is a way to go more directly to the balance, and that's the deeper level. And this deeper level will guide you towards the directions that will close the logic, and will make the logic complete. So all the letters are, of course, rational choices. That's just the blue part, that's where it starts from. And in a way, all these letters are in the right positions, and with extra colors as well in the right positions. But in the background, what we do with language is we choose the rational positions, the blue part, that's the main. In the main system, there are also just two main colors. So we choose the blue part, and we choose these letters. And these are not always good interpretations. That's why you have there the U there as well. The O is then, this is my environmental conditions from which I make a choice. The next choice will be, okay, I will have here the elements that I already recognize. M, the material that I have. And yeah, I will see how well I can work with it in communication and so on, and if I can do with all the material that I'm talking about after a while. And if needed, I will still correct it. That's the A is at the right position in the red color. I will correct it, and I'll go to the E position, which is also on the correct position. So what I was doing is, within my rationality, I wanted to take out something that indeed I was going to use in time rationally, so that I can use this as material, and I can use this further over time. So basically they all fit within the big scheme of yin and yang. But now here I will go to the detail how the interaction works with all the letters. You know, of course, that all the manifestations that there are interpretations, and they also fit within the manifestations themselves in a certain degree, where they will be realized after a while, and they are in a certain degree, a degree that can be compared to colors. And this is a full system in which each position is a manifestation how well each letter position tries to seek its own balance. So within this, I will repeat it, I have my three regions of manifestation of my rationalization process of my language, where I choose words, where I choose my interpretations, and I build up my interpretation. So they start from circumstantial choices, the O, which is materialized in time. This gets the material M, that is materializing itself and received in time, so that all what comes out of it can still be corrected a little bit if I can. And that's how I talk, that's how I use words, and that's how I use words to make this happen. The general purpose of the yin and yang balance with colors is actually the same, has the same goal as the letters, and the letter positions are driving our language into the same purpose of that we, after a while, tries to make progress with our material, try to find the effective link in the system so that we can correct also what we didn't interpret yet, but can also correct it after a while or make it beneficial after a while. That's what the whole system is based upon correcting and completing itself by completing the whole cycle. And now we will go to the full cycle. So there are basically two main attractions. You see here the E, which is the new part. So there's a realism that I want to achieve. These are my new ideas that I want to fit into the system, and this I want to achieve, and that I can achieve when I really follow up the process emotionally in the red part, but also direct everything towards what is really realistic, and that's the blue part, and it also directs towards the unrealistic undeveloped elements or the old flaws in the U part. So that's what you couldn't do, you couldn't interpret, and so on. So this whole process is directing itself into that position. For what is needed to realize and to make it happen, that we understand every position and every evolution and so on, I will mix the combinations of what the letters mean, and I will mix it with the colors, and then you will know how the process is followed up. The A is our process of following it up optimistically in order to progress. That's the white, goes towards the next position. The K is our discerning, this is our distinction of what will be needed to make everything realize itself. The realization process, of course, will go in comparison with the R, so there we will realize its differences. The U is the realism, that we realize what can't be done. So what will we need to do? So in order to realize the completion of the full cycle, whatever thought we start with and will end up with is done by the realization process of, which is basically a yin and yang finalization. We can only realize there what we are able to realize in the two meanings of that word. So we will realize it with the R, and what we can realize is taken out by the letter T. So what we can realize for real is the letter A, is also what we can take out with the letter and the sound A, and in that way, by preparing ourselves well in the realization process, that we say that no, we don't have it yet, but maybe we will have it after a while. In the O, we will prepare also some things in time so that we also perform this realization process in a realistic way. And the only true realization is to dive into the system, to make the connection, as you can see it here from the Y to the K to the R. So that can all that can be that is materialized from this process, here it is from M to T, can be recognized in T. The new elements will be felt emotionally, the circumstances can be sensed rationally, as you can see here. So the main purpose will be to dive into the system as if you are asking a question, what do I have? And that will automatically produce its fitting answer, actually, not more than that. And the extra guidance for this whole process, you see already some letters and letter positions, are also the colors. The advantage of colors is that there is a much more a law of attraction, while the letters themselves are mostly about choices. So we make a choice, we name something. Behind it, there's also this law of attraction that says, like, yeah, if I make, for instance, the choice of K, means that I don't rationally, then I don't really know very well what I have, because that's what I notice, and I say this in the K, and the K is the beginning of this question. This question also leads to a certain order of events in which it will also find its answer. And that's why and where the law of attraction of K will start it in the yellow attraction. And what will it do in this yellow part? It will make itself available for connection. That's basically in the Yin and Yang system what it is. It makes it available for connection. It's free of my choices. It basically said, I don't know, so I'm open to suggestion. And the suggestion is the yellow color, and that's why it fits also there in the yellow color. Even though in the beginning I said there were three categories, the K is in the first category, it was a rational category, but it also was saying I don't know, so it left the category, the direction still is into the blue direction, but it doesn't know, so it is now open to suggestion. It goes to suggestion, and now we will see where it will go to. The process of the yellow color, yellow is the first color that we will see, is that yellow is the brightest color. It will also go towards the light. It's the lightest color. It is going to, it's attracted to the light. It's attracted to where the light is, to where is the perfect theory, where is the ideal situation that I have a distinction between all. It asks for distinction. Distinction is openness. It's opening itself up into the light. It's going towards the distinction. It wants the perfect ideal theory or answer. The light itself will in the end always realize its own effect and reflection. And because it will not, so if you have an openness, it cannot open forever. The light cannot be bigger all the time. The idealization process can't be growing bigger and bigger into the most perfected heavens or whatever. No, it has to realize itself. And how does it realize itself? How can it realize itself? It has to reflect itself. It has to reflect in its results, and the results are basically actually the leftovers. It's what is, it can be the leftovers or of what it could not be, or it can be a reflection on a lower level, in a materializing level. It is the reflection of where the energy continues. But so in any way, it is a reflection, and it will say where or what is left over, always in this process. So if we see man there, and the attractions and the questions that we'll have, the realization, again, I will say, you can only realize something. The heaven will not come because you think about the idealization process. Now the realization of that part, of that position, can only be done by realization. So we have to make it. Where can we see where we have to make it, where we couldn't make it mostly. So we will have to reorganize ourselves there and see what we can make from it, because it also already gave us circumstances that gave us the opportunity to do something with it. So the attraction goes immediately to the next color. After yellow, it's and then white. The white was the ideal idea. Now it will go to the realistic circumstances, or the real circumstances that we have. That's the blue. You see already on the H there's the U. U is the incompleteness, the incomplete things. So it will also be reflected in everything which is not complete, or which has not been bigger than life. So these are also part of the realistic circumstances and the elements that we have to do something with it. So in any part we have to harvest what we have. And this harvesting is going not towards the light, but towards the materializing of what we have. And what is making it prosperous? These are a combination of the attractions that we already had from I saw that I had some attractive ideas, combined with the perfect circumstances for it, or the blue, which in combination, if it can indeed grow from there further, it will make green. And from there I can realize what can become useful, or the letter T. And from there all the materials can become available, or the purple. With all the material that I have, when I will start a new process, of course I need to get realistic goals. Let's see if I can also see it into the seasonal context. Yes, I can, and then I give it a little bit more context, because that was already the process in a very short note. There is a seasonal context in this whole process, and that's why this Yin and Yang process, which is basically already founded in the seasonal context. We have here the positions towards spring, there's the green. From spring towards summer, the orange. From summer towards harvest, the red. And then towards winter with blue. And then there are some difficulties in the interpretation. I saw a few times on the internet that they simply took the 12 positions of the signs, or the 4 seasons, and they had the Yin and Yang, and they put them on top of each other, and then they said, okay, here are all the colors from yellow to purple, and that's how it works. No, that doesn't work like that. I was losing a lot of time trying to figure out if this approach could work or not. No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. You can find them a lot on the internet. Here the colors, how they are positioned, they will work in that way. There was one Japanese system that I found that worked, and that is it's almost the same as what I have here, with a few very, very small differences, with some reason why they are differences. But the reason why it makes it a little bit more difficult is because of the yin and yang are not just the black and white positions, they are at a different point, and that has also a reason which I'm going to explain directly. This yin and yang movement, when you make the context of the seasonal of the 4 seasons, it is all dependent on just one moment where it is decisive, and this moment is in fact the moment where you're going. You have in a moment in June where you have in between spring and summer. The choices are made that you realize what you got from the winter position and what you have towards a summer position, going towards a new winter in a way, towards the harvesting of what you put into the new cycle. And that position, this position, is actually a little bit at the same moment. It's at a position of where you have the K there, where it is decisive that you realize what do I have from the past and what will I put into the future. So here are the 4 seasons, as you can see, and you have this decisive moment on top. And there's a yin and yang foundation that you can find, which I had to think about it a couple of times before realizing how does it work, because all what I found on the internet was not satisfying. It was simply putting the puzzles together as if they match just because of making a puzzle. Now you have to understand the yin and yangs before you can realize why these things are there. So we have this progressive movement, let's say, that's forward, the forward movement, that's the white arrow, and then there's also the moment where you deal with change. This is the yin and yang process, and this is an interaction. There's an interaction between these 2 positions, and I will tell you all the yin and yang positions. This whole system starts in the June solstice, where you make the choice, and the choice is, okay, you take something that you know and put into the system. That what you know is symbolized by the letter A. It's exactly the same thing. That's the symbolization of what you put in the system. It's the yang. You put that in the system. That's what you know. That's what you recognized. That's what you make your progress with. That's the progress. The H is the ideal situation, so the full progress, the white. So that's what when everything is really going forward and so on. But you don't need that heavenly projection. It's a direction at first, but you need a realistic goal. The realistic goal is symbolized by the letter O, and that's the realistic perfection. So it is, you have the perfection of what you can do at this point. So that's the letter O. So there is a part which you cannot do anything with it, and that's also still part of the underlying yang system. It's going forward. It's the U. It's the negative yang, let's say, that also exists. So you have here the perfect positions of what you can do with it. That's what we'll work with. It's the double line. This will be the progress, and that will be the optimal that we can make from it. It's the same thing as the optimal conditions in the 4 seasons. So it's also the conditions of summer. The making of of things realistically is also symbolized by the sound between O and A, which you use also in language more often. And that's basically saying, yes, I know what I can make from it, I know what I have, and I will do something with that. The realistic results will, of course, deal already with the next position, which is basically the real results that I can make from it, symbolized by the fall. It will fall down into its realism and will be attracted to the. Also, the negative is emphasized in this way, and it can only do something which is realistic. So the realistic results are symbolized by the red, which you take out again in this way. It was a bit confusing that we already going towards harvest with red, but that's already the yin and yang position. Immediately to the other position, or the opposite position, and dealing with that. So it goes towards fall, and after fall it will take out things in spring. So the red is not a perfect match at first sight within the yin and yang system, the 4 seasons, and that's why you also often see them somewhat mixed and so on, and in different positions. The red is in different position, but if you know that the point of the breaking point, okay, is more or less at the same position, it's left or right, then you know, okay, seen from that angle it's blue, and from the other angle it's red, and when it's red it's dealing actually with the whole processes that comes forth from it. The real results are symbolized by V, and the realistic results or circumstances that are surrounding it is symbolized by Wo, based upon the Japanese system. And the A is in that way fitting with best with springtime, where you take the elements, the new elements out. So we started with A, which is the forward move, which was tempered within the whole system by U, or the real results, which will be tempered by the real results. But we have a realistic goal, and it will be in the system of the realistic goal, or we will go to this realistic goal. There's no other way. Somewhat smaller in range, which looks at the positive things, that everything that developed well, but in a realistic way. So it's looking at what do I have in its maximized positive form, what everything that brought forward from summer basically is also at the same time the realistic goal, or the O side, the rational goal, which after a while will also become more realistic by attaching itself to the other side, the black things and the thing that didn't work. But here it is at its maximum. It sees its best conditions as they are in reality. 3 times yang is even more focused on the positive. It's completely onto what is positive, what do I have as progress, and it's about the full progress of everything, even after the first definition of here starts summer. The summer is still not at its full force. It will even go further beyond that. That's the heaven part of the yin and yang system, and it's the color white. It's the perfection without need to realize further or do much further. But of course that's not completely realistic. So the next goal will, of course, be dealt with after the confrontation, that it stops. After a while, this stops, and there are things that will not work out further, and then we have attention to to what does not work well. And that's of course going back to that switch in the system, and that switch is very important to and it is a bit of force of going further. So because you can't, it's not because the light is dimming that you suddenly have to jump out of the window. No, it is suddenly saying, okay, deal with it. You can do with it, because the light has also its purpose to make itself true. When it's light, it's not, it's in a way, it is on a certain level of perfection, but it is also limited because it's not becoming. It has need for reflections, it has need for its limitations to make itself through into these limitations. And that's how it breaks out of its limitation. The K is the breaking part, you know that. It's the light, and this way that becomes on a lower level color. And the light or the white will become color, and it's only because by becoming color it can realize itself into life and its whole system of life. So this force that breaks itself, as you can see, it breaks itself to out of its limitations, is a force that will attract what is needed to make it realistic and realize itself. We had already that dimmed light of the summer, which was also the blue part, and which is the realization via R, of course, that I already said. The limitations themselves, which was the inspiration that brought us to the more realistic perspective in the first place, is presented by the letter U. So before it can become again, it has to find where its becomings land, where they come to, where it is landing, where it will lead to, where this U will lead to U, to realize the imperfections in the materialization process. In religion and so on, you have a lot the idea that has been brought into the people's mind, that perfection is found in perfection. No, perfection of the light can only be found in its most vivid light reflection. Light will always find a reflection, and if you don't look for it where the reflections are beneficial and where they are really fruitful and so on, they will reflect empty ideas and empty idealizations. The perfection of the white light will be found in the yellow light. So that's the next part. And so to follow further the yellow light, we must also undergo its true vivid reflections. And by doing so, we will find how this will be interconnected in the world via the element water. You see, the yellow connects itself via R to the green, the R of green as well, where it will be realistically reflected. The R and the L will mix a little bit. R and L are also difficult to pronounce in the East, but they are very close together. There could have been just one letter. because it's reflecting itself, it's realization, and the reflecting itself, it's just one process, and we see then on the end in the reflections how these all things are connected and interconnected. Just a small example of some letter combinations. You have, of course, the U on one side of the what is not achieved, and the combination of L with U. You have that in the word lust, and that is an emotional, so the emotional desire to achieve something rationally. That's the lust. The other position, li, it's at the other side. You find something new. That is then also guided again by the rational process that comes next, or it's a rational desire to connect from the emotional attachment. So the also there the L and the R, the red and the blue part are mixed. So the emotional and rational parts are mixed, and you can have them in a different order in the letter R or the letter L in the way I told you about. So the realistic move forward is the blue part of course that I said, which is then connected as you see via the connected via the natural attraction in K, downward into the system. The K brings you into the system because it's incomplete and connects itself to the system. So it's again the yin position. So the blue part connected with K will of course be making the connection into the system, which is of course an open connection. So the K, you can have them as a downward movement, an upward movement, or a side movement. These are the movements of directions. That's where the letters come in. The letters find directions and connections. These are the open connections. The K is the first open connection, and it connects itself to the system only to complete itself. The opposite position of K, that's the M, which is of course the answer after the K question. You have the M answer of filling in with some material with a perfect answer. That for things that then works fine, and it will progress further. Everything that comes out of the process automatically, and that is like the blackness there, it's so all the downward things that automatically are expressed by the letter W. And there you have, of course, also the wo thing, the wo expression, which says, yeah, here the results dominate, like in the word war, maybe it's expressed with the O. So the results are dominating into the negative thing in a way, yeah. So it's just a lot of things coming out that does not work. If you take all the elements out, that's a triple times yin, that is expressed by the letter N. So after M, the materialization, the materials that you take out are the letter N. And when you only use one element from it, that you say, okay, this one is a useful element, I will not use everything, but I will use just the useful element. One thing is taken out. It's of course expressed by the letter T. If you say, no, I want to take out as much as I can, and then go forth with it, you can see forth with it, it's the top layer, and taking out of elements, that's the two yin parts that you see. It has a ceiling there, so it has, as you can see, and it is expressed with the symbolic expression of mountain. It puts things on a pedestal as well, because it's getting as much material out of everything as it can. So all the useful things are taken out of it. One letter that still is left, which is if you what comes out of the process and is even continued with its full effect, then with some continuation of production of everything that is coming forth from it, also from the negative or the positive side, it doesn't matter. It is expressed by the element of the fire. It's expressed by the letter S. The Y, of course, I said already, it can also be the crystallized end products. You have the full, you try to have as much taken out as you can. And when you have taken out as much as you can say, oh, okay, what can I do with it? Shall I do something with it in a new process? And you can put it back into a new process. Fire, questioning, what can I do with it? Or why is it there? So maybe I can find a purpose. And when you start questioning again, you can only have, a new process coming in with some good ideas, hopefully, and some fine results afterwards. Each new material potentially can bring forward a new ideal, but only in its full process of energetic reflections you will be able to see what is useful from it, what it can be made, how it can be made useful. You already know, I have the process here again, the perfect conditions that are already available, and so you can analyze it from there, what you can do with it, and continue the process and start anew this process if you like. Anyhow, this was the full process of the colors and letters. I hope this was beneficial enough for people who want to go deeper into the combinations of letters and colors and how you can use them and what are the positions of them in a system of yin and yang. This was explained in full. It will be hidden on the YouTube channel because it's much too long to go through it, but people who wants to go deeper into the full process can watch it if they like. I will have the video available on my blog. Thanks for watching. This was Gerald Travawas. There's a website too. Then of course this was the blog with the YouTube links to some videos. You can subscribe for more interactions, demonstrations and so on. Thanks again. Bye bye.